Hello everyone. It's April 13 um 2017. It's 10 p.m. in the evening. This my first ever Ableton for absolute beginners live stream. Please bear with me. This is absolutely, again, as I was saying, the first time that I'm streaming live. So I'm hoping there won't be many issues. However, I'm expecting many issues, to be quite honest. I'm just gonna check for a second that I've got audio. So let me just double check that everything is working fine. Yeah, it looks like we're definitely live. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching this live stream. And if you're not watching and you're watching it later, thank you as well. I've got some notes on my side, basically because I don't wanna forget anything. I wanna touch all these basic points, but also I wanna give you a few links for you to do some research on. I know that getting into the production world is always um, it's tricky because there's loads of information out there, and it's definitely difficult to get guidance, and it's also difficult not to get some bias information as well. You get lots of newsletters or magazines that they get paid for blogs or reviews or whatever, so they tend, even though they're reputable, they tend to push you towards certain things. Now, one of the reasons why I started this live streaming and why I started producing content in Ableton is not because um, I think I'm the best at it, really. I'm way far from it. However, I do feel that for beginners I can bring some useful information, or at least I can guide you through the same path that I went through, which is looking information on internet, finding reliable sources, finding places where to get information from, to get equipment, to get tips on Ableton itself, or even to get like plugins or controllers or speakers or headphones and things like that. So we're gonna go through these things for a little bit. As you can see, you can find on the description of this video, you can find loads and loads of links to tips, to places where you can actually download or Ableton, or interfaces, or reviews about headphones that I found interesting for you. Um, this is one of this is a really interesting time, because now, just with a laptop, pretty much, you can make music, which is, in my view, and I think this is very controversial amongst DJs and producers. In my view, I think it's good. It's good because it makes it more approachable. It makes it easier for people to be creative, which is great. Because at the end of the day, that's what pushes music forward, and I think change is good. I welcome change, and this is exactly what I'm trying to do. When I started, I found loads of resistance, and even when I started, even when you start gaming, or anything like that, you find that there's loads of people already doing it, that are trying to push you and to keep you down, and are trying to give you a few tips, but not really give you the right information, and not really give you the truth, and I'm not saying that I've got the truth. I'm not saying I'm the owner of the truth, but something I'm definitely saying is that I'm gonna give you the best of my knowledge, and to the best of my abilities as well, because I wish I would have had that when I started. I actually had a couple of lessons for absolutely free with a friend of mine. He taught me a lot. He taught me on a different software, which was Reason, but he still taught me a lot about sound processing and mixing, which was very, very useful. So shout out to Nico. Thank you so much for that. Right, with that short introduction, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been involved in music since I was 14 years old. I started playing the drums at that age, and then I moved on to the guitar, took some singing lessons, and took really interest in music, electronic music. Sorry, when I was 19, I think. Now in Argentina, which is where I'm from, it's very difficult to get equipment, to get training. It's super expensive, and I was probably very young as well and not determined enough. So once I moved to the UK, it was way easier to get equipment, to get training as well. As soon as I came here, I think it was November 3-4 years ago. August 2-3 years ago. Literally 2 months later, I was already sending emails to DJ schools to start my training on DJing, and then a couple of months later, I started my music production learning as well with my friends, and a little bit at the studio as well. So anyway, it's been a really fun ride for me. Music has always been there. It's not always been possible for me to afford even a laptop or a computer or even Ableton. After I started, it's just really difficult to get out. Like, for me, it's really intoxicating. If you actually go to any of my social profiles, I talk. My relationship with music is very, very, very deep. Speaking of social profiles, you will find them on the description as well. Here are a few of my links. Please, if you do like this video or the live stream, you've got questions, shout about it, share it with as many people as you can. My idea is to do this. I'm doing this for passion of it. I do have my day job, so I'm just trying to get to as many people as possible, to share a bit of knowledge, which is I think always good. Friends of mine have shared with me their knowledge, and I'm trying to pass it on to more people. So let's just get right into it. These are the three main subjects that I want to touch on today. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them on the live chat. I can see we've got RS. I'm not sure what's your real name, bro, but thank you so much for joining me as well. Shout out to you. I know you've been watching the tutorial, so thank you. If you've got any particular questions, feel free to drop them on the live chat, and I'll be happy to have to try and answer them at the end. So let's go through the basic settings. Sorry about the chair, it squeaks a little bit. Let's go through the basic settings of Ableton and actually how it looks as well. Hi, silent discussion as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so for those who don't know much about it, and this is why the streaming is called Ableton for Absolute Beginners. Ableton is divided in sections. You've got two main views. One is the arrangement view, which is this one, and the other one is the clip view, where you can arrange your channels, you can get your clips, and manage some settings on the channels as well, which you can do anyway on this side. But basically, their functionality differs in this way. The clip view, which is this one, is used to create short clips of audio that you can arrange, let's say, and it's mainly used to play live. So you can, for example, have several clips. I'm going to show you how to create clips as well, but let's say you can have several clips created. These are actually audio clips, but you can have different channels. Let's say I can have a synth. I know I'm going quick now, but I'm just trying to demonstrate something. Let's say this is a bass line. So something you could do is to create several clips and to have them organized. And let's say you create your little MIDI clips, and you know that you want to play them on that order. You can if you have Ableton push, you can trigger them from your Ableton push, or you can actually with your mouse trigger all that line together, or line by line, and when you click on another clip, it'll start playing, and you'll start playing that one, and so on and so forth. So this is basically a session to made more than anything to play live, to play clips live, to trigger them, to play around with them. Something I used to do a lot, which I'm not doing anymore, because I'm basically recording my tracks with my guitars and my bass. But if you plan to work with samples, it's pretty fun really to work on this view, because you can actually create several clips, and once you've got an idea of where you want the track to go, you can start playing around with them, and then go to the arrangement view and actually lay them down to create a track. So speaking of the arrangement view, if you go there, if we go here is basically a blank canvas to create your an entire track, not clips but a track. You can create clips as well, but basically in this view you're gonna organize your music. Let's say we want the kick, and again I'm gonna go slower through this, but now I'm just showing you what you can do on this view. Let's say I want the kick to go for an entire minute, and then to pause, and then I want it to start running again for the main part for another couple of minutes, and then I want a break, so I can go here, I just want a break, and so on. And then I want percussion, and then you want percussion, and you want the synth to go here. And basically when you play it with all the music arranged, I can actually show you. Let's try for a second. And then when you arrange everything, you will see your track, and you can organize different sections. You can automate things and parameters that are happening through the track. Whoops, there's something. There you go. Here's how you would arrange a track. You've got different elements, and you can tweak them on the timeline. You've got the time here, so this track in particular is 7 minutes long, and this is pretty much how it looks, how a track looks on the arrangement view once it's finished. So you've got all the automations, you've got all the parameters and everything, and you see, for example, this is actually a really good example. I've got the entire track on the arrangement view, and I don't have a single clip on the session view, right? And this is because I recorded the entire track. I worked it on the arrangement view. Another reason why I mainly work on the arrangement view for tracks is because it's easier for me to play around with the time. When I'm making a track, I'm not only thinking about creatively what I want to do, but also I'm thinking about how this track could work on a dance floor or in a determined environment that I want this track to be played at. So when I'm thinking of a track and thinking of, okay, I'm going with a intro. So maybe once you start playing around with the intro, you say, okay, this I like, but you look at the time and maybe you went for like 3 minutes repeating the same thing, and even though you're in the zone and you're enjoying it, for someone who's new to the track and is listening to the track for the first time, maybe 3 minutes of an intro might be too long, and then you start combining your feeling with the actual logic of what you're trying to accomplish with the track, and looking at the time, and you start going back and forth with that and playing around with that, which I think is really cool. So for me, it's really easier to organize myself and the track directly from the arrangement view. However, there are loads and loads of times where I just want to jam and I just want to play around and see what ideas come first, and definitely playing on the session view is really, really cool as well, especially if you've got like a sampler or some analog instruments that you can record directly into the clip view or the session view. That's really cool. Let me open a new set and we'll go through the basic settings first. I'm not gonna save any changes. As I was saying before, again, thank you so much for joining me. If you could go, while it's opening, remember to share the love, spread the love. I always love that phrase, mainly because, again, for me, this is love for music, and if you would share this, I would absolutely love it. Right, now we're here. Okay, now this is really cool. You can see I actually opened a new live set, and I bet it looks different than yours. The reason it looks different than yours is because I saved a template. Saving a template is something that is going to save you loads and loads and loads of time. Why? Because, and I bet you, if you've started working on Ableton, I bet you've gone through this frustration of starting a new project and having to build everything from scratch, and having to experiment again with the same things and trying to remember how everything is, or even if you remember actually how everything is built, you still have to spend that time in building it. So something I've done for myself, because I usually work with the same configuration, although sometimes I vary it, is to create a template. The way you do it is simply by going to opening a new live set. When you open a live set, you will probably have 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks. Now you can configure this as however you want. Let's say on the kick, you can add a drum rack, you can add an EQ, which I've got here, a utility. I'm going to show you what all these things are for, but I'm just saying you can drop elements into the channels. I've got another channel for drums. The reason I've got the kicks and the drums separately is because the drums are not only a kick which has to be bassy. The drums comprised by several different elements, like cymbals, like toms, like percussion elements, and they don't and in most cases they require different EQing and sound processing than the kick, and that's why I keep them separately most of the times. Then I tend to record guitars and bass lines. For the guitars, in most cases I use this plugin that I absolutely recommend you get. Not only if you play the guitar, but any instrument, even with your voice, you can create amazing things. So really, absolutely worth getting it. If the link is not there, I'm gonna post it later on the description, which I can tell is not there, so I'm gonna post it later. Again, absolutely worth the money. You can get tons and tons of plugins already out of the box, but if not, you can create your own plugins with all the components. Again, absolutely worth it. So I record guitars. I've got the 2 lines for the bass lines again, and you can see that I already have the guitar rig on the channel, the EQ on the channel, the utility on the channel, and so on. Voices and more channels, more audio channels to record sounds or whatever. So once you've arranged your template as you want, if you find that you've got a specific organized way that you like to start your tracks, or you know that you'll pretty much every time are going to use a bass line, a kick drum, some percussion, and maybe a few synths or whatever plugin that you use, you can already preload them, and then it's as simple as going into live preferences. This could be different if you're using Windows instead of Mac. I think in Windows is in file and preferences instead of live and preferences, but you get the idea. It's pretty much the same thing. Now that we're here, we're also going to go through the settings, and there you go. If you go to the file and folder, you can see there's an option that says save current set as default. You just save it, and it will save it as your own template. And there you go. Now every time you open Ableton, you'll open this template, and you will save loads and loads of time, which for me is really important, because sometimes you've got this really creative wave, and you just want to sit down in your studio and get right into it and start producing and not care about anything else. And this is one of the solutions. This is one of the tips that will save you loads of time and will allow you to get that creativity and spend that energy only on your creativity, only on your music, only on what you wanna create, which I think is great. You could spend easily half an hour in setting everything up as you want, which is precious time. Even more if you like me, if you've got like a day job and you come tired at home and you just can't wait to get in the studio to be able to produce, and having to set everything up is something that sometimes can really put you off it. So again, saving a template is really simple. You configure everything, go to live and preferences, and on the file and folder tab, you can save the current set as default, and there you go. You've got yourself a template. There are a few settings that are really important here. I should actually well, you can select your own language. There are a few. And oh, by the way, I didn't say this. I did imply it, but didn't actually say it. I think supporting the software is really important. I mean, I must admit I have used copied versions, but always buying the software is 100 times better. You get support, you get updates, and you get to support people that actually put really hard work into what they're doing. If you think about it, in the future when you make a track and you want to sell it, you want people to buy it, right? So you want to do the same thing with the software you use to produce your music. So again, if you're going to use the software, download the free trial, save some money, and after the free trial ends, buy it. It's 100% worth it. You'll get thousands, if not hundreds, if not thousands of hours of entertainment out of it. So again, it's 100% worth it. So settings, this is more like look and feel. You can play around with it. It's really up to your liking. There's not much to say about this. Audio, and here's a little trick that I'm gonna tell you now. Excuse me. So here's where you select your audio interfaces and your input device, your output device, and your channel configuration. Now this will depend a lot on the equipment that you've got, and also the specs of your computer. I like really high quality audio, and I like using this bit rate because it gives me good quality without spending loads and loads of resources from the machine. So the input device, I'm using my audio interface, which has 2 channels in, and the output device is usually the same. In this case, because I'm streaming live, and I want you guys to be able to hear Ableton, I'm going to a specific setting, like a virtual audio interface that I've had to set up. But if not, I would normally go to the same interface, which goes out to my speakers. Input and output configuration usually is properly set up as it comes out of the box. I usually never had I actually never had to touch anything from there, and it was always working. So I would really not touch it. Now the buffer size is something you might want to play around. I'm not gonna get into much detail about it because it can get very tricky. Basically, this is how much processing memory your Ableton is going to use, how much you're going to allow it to use. The more samples you store, if I'm not wrong, it takes more processing power, which if you don't have a really powerful computer, in my case, for example, if I go really high, the sound starts cracking. So the highest that I can use it is in 512 samples. Higher than that, and it starts cracking, mainly because my computer is actually not that powerful. Now, the test tone is really interesting. It's really interesting. It just it's basically a sound like that. If I'm not wrong, you'll be able to hear it. It's just like a tone. It's like a doo, just in case you can't hear it. Now, something that's really good about this is that it not only allows you to test, it allows you to test the CPU to see if everything works correctly. You can see that the processing goes to 50%. This is basically telling you what percentage of the processing memory of the resources Ableton is using. 50% is quite high, but it's still manageable, so that's not bad. And it also allows you, and this is a trick that production teacher actually told me, it actually allows you to test the frequency of your room, which is really, really, really useful when you have to soundproof a room. So if you turn it on and you go with the frequency down, and then you start slowly increasing it, you will notice that at certain frequencies, your room, yes, and I'm not crazy, your room will start vibrating and will start resonating at that frequency. Every room, every wall, every element, everything, absolutely everything has a frequency where it resonates. So if you find the frequency of your room, let's say the frequency of this room is I don't know, let's just for a reason, let's say it's 200 hertz. Now that means that whenever I'm playing something, an element or a sound or a track or whatever that has a sound on that frequency, my room is gonna vibrate, and it's gonna make it seem like that sound is actually stronger than it is. It's actually louder than it is. So it's probably gonna make you EQ it and cut it down incorrectly. So being aware that this room vibrates 200 hertz actually allows me to know that when I'm EQing my music, I need to be careful, because probably I'm gonna be hearing the 200 hertz really loud, but they're not gonna be loud in reality. It's just this room that is vibrating. I know it might sound a little bit crazy, but pay attention to that. Try it after the live stream. After the live stream, try it in your studio, in your room, and you will see. Turn the volume of the speakers right up, and start testing from the low frequency to the high, and you'll find most rooms are between 80 and 200 and 240 hertz, if I'm not wrong. But you will see it's a really, really funny feeling, but again, it's useful. So link and MIDI, this is basically to set up your controllers. If you've got the push, you can select from a range of controllers here. We can get into this configuration further, actually in another live stream. But again, it's pretty straightforward. You select the controller that you've got. Actually, I sold mine, but still it can be there. You select the controllers, the launch control, etc., and it lets you decide if you want for it to be an input or an output, and for it to control the MIDI as a MIDI interface as well. Okay, file folder. This is basically where you decide. You can have an actual sample editor, like an external sample editor. I don't use any, but you can use them. I actually edit all my samples manually inside Ableton when I record them. But you can have like a third-party program opening the samples to edit them. Temporary folder. This is whenever you make a recording, whenever you record something, it's saved on a temporary folder. If you've got an external drive that you're always gonna leave plugged in, I would advise you to do it on there, probably, because it occupies space. Even though it's a temporary folder, it takes space, and if you've got limited space on your computer, it might take processing power as well. So temporary folder is just whenever let's say you record something, you record 30 seconds of a guitar, and you only use 15 seconds of that guitar and leave them on the track, and the other ones you just delete them from the channel, but that doesn't delete the file. The file stays on the temporary folder until you close the set, and Ableton then asks you if you want to delete the temporary files, and then you select yes. So until then, you can re-access them from this folder. So if you ever deleted a sample or anything that you thought, I actually want that, you can go to that temporary folder and find all your recordings and samples from there. It's not the most handy button, isn't it? Okay, what else? Decoding cache. I never get it, to be honest. I never get into these configurations. I never needed them. This one is quite an important one. Now, Ableton, when you buy it, it pretty much comes empty, unless you buy it with the full package with all the plugins that come with them, or the pack samples, the sample packs and so on. So you will need, and even if you buy the full version that comes with everything, you'll need and want to have more sounds and have more variety and have more plugins. Plugins could be synthesizers and things like that. So you want to install them all in the same folder. Make sure, and if you don't do this, you'll have loads and loads of trouble, and it'll be frustrating because you'll end up uninstalling everything and having to install it again and configuring everything again. Excuse me, which is definitely not fun. So install everything, and make sure every time you're installing a VST plugin, you're installing all the time on the same folder. So at the beginning, when you start Ableton for the first time, you don't have a folder selected, so you just have to go to browse, and it'll open your Explorer or your Finder in case you're using Mac, and you can select the folder, and that'll pick up your plugins. Now, when you install a new plugin, which sometimes may happen, you're just working on a project and you think, I need a reverb, or I know exactly what I need. So you install the plugin, but you don't want to restart Ableton because you I don't know, you just don't feel like restarting it. So if you've done the right thing and you've installed the plugin in the right place, which is the folder that you've got selected there, you can just hit on rescan, and it'll pick up and it'll rescan, as the name says, that folder, and it'll bring up the plugins that you've just installed. Library, you can select different folders on your drive to pick sample packs from it. And here are a few record settings. I always record in WAV, which is the best quality, and a high bit rate. Obviously you want to record in the best quality possible. The count in is basically when you click the record button and it gives you a count. So it will give me 2 bars, so 8 beats of time to prepare myself to record, and then you'll start recording. Okay, so basically then is if you want when you want to record, you need to arm a track, and basically that's what I'm selecting there, that I need to arm a track to be able to record on it. Clip up the rate. Basically this is what you see here. Let me just, it shows you the recording. There you go, it shows you the recording, and I'm selecting how precise I want this to be while I'm actually recording it. So that's why it says clip update rate. It's basically showing you the clip as it's recording, and I've selected 16s because I actually want to see what I'm recording, especially if you're recording something beats related, like percussion. You want to see if you're in time or not. What else? I don't play much around with this. I would say if you record more percussion or than anything else, I would go for the warp mode speeds. If you record more vocals than anything else, I would go for the complex warp mode. Again, auto here. Usually I don't touch any of these. The preferences that come by default with Ableton are good enough. Again, I wouldn't touch nothing here, and this is just license information. If you have any questions or doubts in particular about these settings, these are very specific. I don't think it's really worth to get into them right now, but if you do have any questions about them, do send them my way, and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. I can even create a different video about them. Okay. There's really not much going on with the settings. Again, if you've got any questions, send them my way. But I think we covered pretty much all the most important bits about it. So we've seen a little bit about the scene and arrangement views. This is the scene view. I called it session as well, because I use it for live sessions, but I think it's actually called scene view or the arrangement view. Now I'm gonna hit stop here. Now let's start for the scene view. And by the way, this is something that you'll be able probably to find very useful. If you click on this arrow right here, it brings the help and info view. This means wherever you stand on, wherever there's a button, it'll give you information about it. So pretty much this is and I really like it, and always the information that it's got there is actually very useful. I like it because it's pretty much like having live help right next to you, telling you what the hell that you're trying to touch is for, which when you're a beginner, That's actually really helpful. So again, I don't have it on because now I know how everything works, but you can see every controller, every parameter, every knob, everything that you stand on, it will show you what that is for and what you can do with it. Yep, that's pretty cool. Use it because it's really cool. Okay, so now let's go for the very, very, very basics. How do we start actually making some freaking noise? So the first thing you need to do is to create a clip. A clip you can do by double clicking on one of these boxes. It'll automatically create 1 bar clip. At this moment we don't have anything to select because we haven't loaded any instruments or samples in here. So let's actually start for the drums. I'm gonna make a simple drum. I'm gonna make a simple drum kit for you guys to see. So you double click on one of these clips. You can actually click on one of the squares as well, if I'm not wrong. No, that's only when you're connected with a push. Okay, so let's say we've got an empty channel. Yeah, so if I hit play, obviously nothing will happen, right? And we want to start making some noise, as we said before. So the first thing that we're going to look for, in this case, because we're working on the drums, I'm going to bring a drum rack which is empty. This is pretty much like a sampler. If you've got an instrument at home with pads and buttons to touch, this is pretty much the same thing. You've got an empty instrument that you have to fill with samples and sounds. Here are some really cool links that you can find in the description below as well, to get loads and loads of loops and samples and sounds and whatever. What I like doing, I really enjoy doing, is recording my own sounds, because that way you can get really unique things happening. For example, if I go to this view, let's say, and I'm just playing around here just on the go, if I record it and use the metronome, I can actually do a hi-hat. Let's say we can go, you can do just that. It's fine. I don't really care if it's out of tempo. I'm gonna show you how to do this slower. I just want to show you something that you could do fairly easily. So I can actually get an instrument which is called sampler and drop it in one of these boxes. So I'm gonna drop a sampler, and now I'm gonna drop this recording into the sampler. Actually, something that I'm gonna do first is to press the letter Command or Control and J, and it'll consolidate that sample. Because what I did before was just separating it like that, but that still has, you can see that little bit that is selected there is only this section, but it still has attached all the rest of the sample. So if you press Command or Control in Windows and J, it will consolidate it, and you'll have a short sample this time. So now we go to the drums, and I drop this in here and select the start. I know I'm going quick, I'm just trying to prove a point. So now we've got a sample, we've got a sound, which right now might not sound all that good really, because I just recorded it on the fly. It was just like, I don't know. and you can actually now delete all of this, is now not sounding the best way, but I don't care. It's my own sample. I just recorded a sound that no one else in the world has, right? And that's important, because then you start creating your own music, and your own music is really your own, and it's no one else's. It's your own. There's nothing wrong with using samples. I love using samples. I still use them, but making your own music, once you make an entire track with your own sounds, that changes your whole game. It doesn't even have to be all that good. You'll feel different about creating an entire track on your own, because it's all you. It's nothing else. It's just you, and there's something else that comes with that, which is really, really, really cool. Anyway, so we've got and you can see before we had a full piano. I just double clicked on the clip. Before we had a full piano roll with all the keys. Now we don't have it. We just have the sample that I loaded. Now you notice that if I press on it, nothing sounds. It's just because this little button here is turned off. So if you turn it on and it's in blue, now it's there. Excuse me. So now we can actually hear it. Okay, so let's load some samples here. If you've downloaded some samples, or you got them for free, or you bought them, or anything like that, you can load the folder by adding a folder, and it'll allow you to go and search on your Finder, on your Explorer, wherever you've got all the samples, and you'll load them as I've got them here, for example. See, these are kicks that I actually recorded using an iMac box. The box that this computer came on was quite big and had a good sound to it. So I decided to cut a hole in it and put a microphone and tap it on different places of the box and record it that way, which I thought was pretty cool. So we got several noises. Let's just pick one at random. And now we want from the samples, let's say we want another snare. Which one do you like? Quite like this one. I'm just gonna make the one you like. It's just as simple as selecting it and dragging it to wherever you want, and you can reorganize this. You can move them wherever you want. That's pretty easy. Something else you can do, let's say you like that one and that one and that one and that one. Let's say you like all four of them. Usually never happens, but let's say you do like them. So you can grab all of them by selecting one, holding shift and selecting the last one, so you'll select all of the ones in between. Or you can actually do, let's say, select one and press the Control or Command and select several, and once you've got all the ones sidechain sound one with compression to kick would be some kind of thing. Oh yeah. Sidechain, we can go through sidechain as well. Okay, so we can load all of them on the sampler, and there we go. So we've got several samples now. If I go to the clip, you will see that all of them there you go. Now all of them are here. So let's just create a random you can click on, you can double click and it will come up. You'll have a little sample there. I'm gonna extend it for a full beat, mainly because this one is the kick and I want to have a straight kick on all 4 beats. You can from here you can actually do Command and D, and you'll be able to duplicate it. So Command D, whoops, Command D, and I've got 4 now. I can actually, and this is pretty cool, you can play it. I'm gonna turn off the metronome. You can play it, and now that it's playing, you can start adding things on top, which is pretty cool. You can and if this is on, you can actually start playing around with it. So I wanna have my own have it. There you go. This is just, I'm just playing around with it. Okay, so we've got we've got a little groove there. It's not really all that interesting right now. I don't really care about it. I just want you to see how you can start creating a groove. So you just select the places where you want your sounds to sound, and you put them into place. You can actually play around with them while you're playing. So I can say, okay, I can click on this one and move it with the arrows on the keyboard. If you like that, or something else you can do is something that for me is annoying is that whenever this is on, every time you actually click on a note, it will sound. Yeah. So this is something that I usually wouldn't do, just to play it and then move around the notes. Something that I would usually do, but because I know already how things sound, is to keep it playing, have this off, and then add things. Yep. Now, this is a very short clip, and there's a lot happening on just a little 4 beats clip. So if we want something longer, we can, with this arrow, extend it to 2 entire clips, and now we've got an 8 beats clip. If you click and drag, just to make it easier, you can drag all of it, and then Control or Command and D, and it'll duplicate everything. So now we can make variations on the same clip. Yeah. Now, let's see. This is how you create a basic clip. Now, what I would do from here is just because this sounds very, very, very how would you say, very simple. Then the next step is to actually start sound processing. One of the first things, and I'll go through this very, very quickly, and then if you've got any questions, start sending them on the live chat, because and then after that we can just make a roundup and have a few points to touch probably on the next stream. So one of the first things that I go through to make this sound more interesting is to use the space. And by this I mean we've got 2 ears, and we we hear whenever we're listening to something, whenever we're on the street, we don't hear everything sounding right here on the middle, or everything on this side, or everything on that side. We hear everywhere. We hear around us. So for something to sound real on whatever you're creating as well, it needs to recreate that feeling of being around the person, being occupying all that space. Otherwise, if you've got everything sounding on both sides of your head, it makes it feel like everything is sounding like right in front of you in the middle, and that doesn't feel real. That just feels plastic in a way. So one of the first things that we're gonna do, and it's actually really good that we're using several instruments, is to use a space. And the best way of going about it is I'm going to show you another little trick. Now, you've seen that I've loaded all the samples on this channel, which is called drums. Now that I've got several samples, you can see that there's a little arrow that came up there that all the other ones don't have. That means that if I click on it, I'll have access to more channels, which are the little instruments that I loaded into this main channel. And now if I hit the play, you will see that you'll see how they react when the samples play. So I'm gonna hit the play. See? And if you can see the balance, you can see that every single channel has 2 bars. The one on the right represents the sounds on your right, the one on the left represents the sounds on your left. If you see that a sound is going at the same level on both sides, that means that sound sounds right here, right there in the middle. It's like if you could look at it, you could see it right in front of your nose. You could see it right in front of your nose. So you can see now that all the sounds are right there, right in the front of your nose. If you actually try closing your eyes for a second, all the sounds come from right in front of you. They feel, or sometimes some people also can feel it like it's right on the back of your head. It's like right on the back of your head. It all depends on how on every person. But yeah, some people feel it right here, some people feel it right in the middle of the back of the neck, of the head. Okay, so something we want to start doing is panning. Panning is the act of putting sounds to one side or the other one, to be able to generate this space that I was talking about. So let's see which ones are the sounds that are playing right now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sounds, which is good. I mean, it gives us a really good amount just to play with 2 on one side, 2 on the other one, and 1 in the middle. In the middle, we probably want to use the kick. So because we always want the kick, in most cases we want the kick in the middle. So we're gonna leave this one, which is the kick. You can actually rename it if you click on the little channel and Command and R or Control and R. Let's say kick, and we rename it. So there's the kick. I want it right in the center. We're not using this one, and we're not using this one. So this is my own little hi-hat that I recorded in a second. If we go to the C, that is center. If you click and drag up, that's right. If you click and drag down, that's left. I'm going to use this one just a little. Oh, you can actually click on it and write numbers. If you write positive numbers, let's say I write 8, it'll go to the right. If I write negative numbers, it'll go to the left. So -8, it'll go to the left. In this case, I want this one to be on the right. You can actually see the sound, how it's actually a little bit on the right. If you close your eyes, you'll be able to feel it just right to your... I can just, if I could point at it, I would be feeling it right next to my eyeball, right like here. Right, let's select another one. Let's say I want this one to go -20 to the left. Now there's a bit more space, still most of everything right in the middle, but I've got things happening here on this side, which is the hi-hat that I recorded, and then suddenly at the end of the clip you can hear something on this side, which starts getting your attention, starts putting you on your toes in a way. Let's add, so we've gone a little bit to the right, far to the left, so we can go a little bit to the left, let's say -10. Let's try going -12. And now let's go far right. Let's go 18. Again, this is not the best of the loops. This is not the best groove I've ever came up with. But you can see the difference. Let's see. I'm gonna click on it and Control or Command and D. That duplicates it. And I'm gonna open it and click on these ones and take them to 0. Just because I want to show you the difference. So I can play both at the same time by clicking here. And if I click on this button, it will turn it off. So now this is the one which is panned. It's opened. It's open. It gives you that feeling that you're in a room with actual instruments sounding all around you, from your far right, a little bit to the right, in the middle, a little bit to the left, and to your far left. So you're basically surrounded by this sound. Yeah. And now if we hear, this sounds very, very, very simple, very bang on the middle. And because everything is sounding at the same volume as well, we don't have any indications of what's louder, what's quieter, and in which space everything is. It all sounds very, very bland, very, very in the middle. When it sounds like this, you can actually feel it's an actual sensation of your ears going all around trying to catch these sounds that are coming from everywhere. And now this is a sensation that we've managed to create in a couple of minutes with very, very simple samples, and not really much sound processing or work or leveling or mixing or anything. So can you imagine what that creates when you put loads of work into it with I don't know, with a couple of guitars, a couple of bass, or a couple of synths, a couple of a bass line, an entire percussion set, and everything has its own space. Everything is a little bit to your left and more to the far left, and maybe there are things that are going around you and going back and forth, and there are things that are sounding up in volume and going down and up. So this is what I like to call textures. The more textures that you create with your elements and with your instruments, the more interesting the sound and the music will be. And to that point, and this is my last point, and I'm gonna let you go, guys. Don't ever let anyone tell you what's interesting or not. You're making music because it makes you happy. And something I realized is that in this world there are billions of people, and in those millions of people you'll definitely find someone who likes whatever you do. And it doesn't really matter where music takes you, um, as long as the journey is good. And you'll see that whenever you can make music and you can connect at least with one person, it only takes it really does, it really only takes one person who you don't know to send you a message one day and say, hey man, your music is really cool, or hey girl, your music is really good, or hey, can I get this track because I really like it, could you send it to. It only takes one connection like that to make your day. And don't let anyone to put you down, don't let anyone to tell you what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing. Now if it's a technique thing, then you should probably be listening, or at least be open to take advice, or be open to accept criticism. But if it's a taste thing, if it's something that you really like doing, just commit to it and keep pushing. And if you don't find your space, create your own space and keep always pushing forward, always pushing forward. It doesn't really matter if you become famous, if you become a professional musician or whatever. You're enjoying what you're doing and you're happy doing so, and that's really all that matters. So I'm not sure if you've got any questions for me. I don't see anything that I could reply to right now. I can see there's been a few people watching the entire thing. I really I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. It's my first ever live streaming. I know there have been probably a few mistakes here and there, probably a few sound issues that I'm gonna try solve. So all your feedback is absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for everything. And something that I would be really grateful if you could do for me. Again, I'm doing all this for the passion, and I'm doing all this because I love this. Yeah, sorry, I can't read your name really. But yes, I'm just leaving. We just spent an hour of streaming, just going through a few tips here and there, configure basic settings, basically a few of the things that I've got here. Thank you so much for stopping by though, and you can always watch the streaming back, because it will be loaded in a few minutes to my channel. So as I was saying, I would absolutely really appreciate it if you could just go through my social media profiles, just give me a follow, give me a share. I would really appreciate it. I'm gonna leave all the links in the description. If you like the video, give it a like, give it a share. Again, that would be really appreciated, and it would mean a lot for me. So thank you so much. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it, because I really had a great time. And let me know what you think for the next time. What do you want to look into more detail, and I'll try to make another video or another live streaming. If not next week, the following week. Right, that's it for me. I'm Mariano Cicciari. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, guys. See you next time. Now I've got to stop the recording. See you next time, guys.